Unshakable faith. The three young men in the fiery furnace. Dear brothers and friends, today we gather to reflect on a story of bravery, faith, and devotion that has inspired believers throughout the centuries. The story of the three Hebrew youths who refused to worship the golden image. This account, found in the book of Daniel, highlights the importance of loyalty to Jehovah and God's powerful intervention in times of crisis. As we explore this story, we will consider the teachings of the Scriptures and the involvement of Jehovah and Jesus, seeking a clear and uplifting understanding. The story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego unfolds in the context of the Babylonian exile. King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon had constructed a massive golden image and decreed that everyone must worship it. In Daniel 3:4-6, we read, "Then the herald loudly proclaimed, 'Nations and peoples of every language, this is what you are commanded to do. As soon as you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, you must fall down and worship the image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Whoever does not fall down and worship will immediately be thrown into a blazing furnace.'" Faced with this decree, the three Hebrew youths, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, were confronted with a critical decision: obey the king and betray their faith in Jehovah, or remain faithful and face death in the fiery furnace. Their response is a powerful testament to their devotion to Jehovah. In Daniel 3:16-18, they replied to the king, "King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up." The bravery and faith of these young men are impressive. They were willing to face death rather than compromise their loyalty to Jehovah. This act of faithfulness is an example for all of us about the importance of putting God first, regardless of the consequences. Nebuchadnezzar, enraged by their disobedience, ordered that the furnace be heated 7 times hotter than usual, and that the youths be thrown into the fire. In Daniel 3:23-25, we read, "And these 3 men, firmly tied, fell into the blazing furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar leaped to his feet in amazement and asked his advisors, 'Weren't there 3 men that we tied up and threw into the fire?' They replied, 'Certainly, your majesty.' He said, 'Look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods.'" Jehovah intervened miraculously to protect his faithful servants. The presence of a 4th figure in the fire, which many believe was an angel or a manifestation of Jesus himself, demonstrated God's protective power and his care for those who trust in him. The 3 youths emerged from the furnace unharmed, not even smelling of smoke. In Daniel 3:27 we are told, "And the satraps, prefects, governors, and royal advisors crowded around them. They saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was a hair of their heads singed. Their robes were not scorched, and there was no smell of fire on them." This miracle not only saved the lives of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, but also had a profound impact on King Nebuchadnezzar and his court. In Daniel 3:28-29, Nebuchadnezzar acknowledges the power of Jehovah. "Then Nebuchadnezzar said, 'Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and rescued his servants.' They trusted in him and defied the king's command, and were willing to give up their lives rather than serve or worship any god except their own God. Therefore I decree that the people of any nation or language who say anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be cut into pieces, and their houses be turned into piles of rubble, for no other God can save in this way." Jehovah's intervention in this story underscores his power and willingness to protect his faithful servants. This account reminds us that even when we face trials and persecutions, we can trust that Jehovah is with us and will protect us in ways that often exceed our understanding. Jesus also spoke about the importance of faithfulness to God and the value of enduring persecution for righteousness' sake. In Matthew 5:10-12, Jesus says, "Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." The congregation plays a vital role in helping us remain faithful and courageous in our faith. By gathering to study the Bible, pray, and worship together, we strengthen our faith and understanding of the teachings of Jehovah and Jesus. In Hebrews 10:24-25, we are exhorted, "And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching." The congregation is a place where we can learn and grow together, supporting each other in our struggle to remain faithful to Jehovah. Applying the teachings of the story of the 3 Hebrew youths in our daily lives means living with a constant awareness of Jehovah's presence and care. Practicing daily devotion and meditating on the Scriptures allows us to deepen our relationship with Jehovah and Jesus, finding comfort and guidance in their words. We must strive to maintain an active prayer life, trusting that Jehovah hears us and responds to our needs. In conclusion, the story of the 3 Hebrew youths who refused to worship the golden image is a powerful testament to faith and devotion to Jehovah. Through their bravery and God's miraculous intervention, we learn about the importance of faithfulness and divine protection. May this reflection inspire us to live with active faith and deep love for Jehovah and Jesus, trusting in their guidance and protection, and anticipating with hope the promise of their eternal kingdom. Amen.